a special match for you,
In
records wise?
Yeah, or going past Mal. Yeah, been fortunate enough to get another test. He was threatening last week not to play me again, so I couldn't go past him. But yeah, I spoke about this topic last week after the match against Scotland, and it's a very special thing to be able to reach a milestone that a guy that you looked up to has held for such a long time. So again, it's not a number that I look forward to tick off every time I play a test match, but I'm very thankful that I've been able to play so many matches for the Kangaroos, and hopefully this will be another special memory for myself.
I know it's a long way off, but is Darren Lockyer's out of your reach? 59 tests?
Yeah, it's quite a long way away. At this stage, I think that might be a little too far out of my reach, but in saying that, it's going to be sort of 2 years down the track as far as numbers of games played. So when it comes to that stage, I'll make that decision whether to try and go for that. But for me, it's not about trying to break records or reach records. I just want to play as good as I can for the Kangaroos when I get the opportunity.
I guess you really appreciate the Australian jersey when you see what happened to Josh Mansour this week.
Oh, look, absolutely. I think it doesn't matter what jersey you're playing in, but particularly the representative jerseys that you get the opportunity to wear. You need to appreciate those opportunities. And look, it's a terrible thing that happened to Josh. Just a mishap at training. We were playing some competitive, small-sided games, and it was the last play of the session, and he went down. So all the guys are obviously feeling fairly sombre about that injury. But Josh has been fantastic. Although his campaign's over and most of next year he'll have to sit on the sideline with his rehabilitation, he's been fantastic for the boys. And we got to remember about Josh Dugan as well. He was involved in the accident, and he was feeling a bit down for a couple of days there. But all the boys and obviously all the staff have been fantastic and got around both of the guys, and they're feeling good again and looking forward to this match tomorrow.
I know you don't want to be brutal, but you have to put it to one side in a hurry. Have you been able to do that?
Look, personally, I've had to, being the captain of the side. I've had to refocus and try to help the boys refocus, and I think they've done that with the help of Josh Mansour. He's all about the team and always has been when he's been involved in the Kangaroos. And as disappointed as he's feeling, his attitude at the moment's great. He obviously wants to get his knee right, but his thoughts are all about the team and helping us prepare well this week.
Is it good having him around the squad?
Yeah, well, he's part of our touring squad, and that's not going to change. Although he's not going to play another game in this tournament, but for us, we just want Josh to be healthy. Obviously there's some issues surrounding any injury such as his, and it's entirely up to him what he wants to do from here on out. I think he'd like to stay around the boys as much as he can. He's indicated that already. But if there's a stage where he needs to go home and have his treatment done, then we're all for that.
And what about Josh Dugan? You're the captain. What do you say to him when something like that happens?
Oh, look, I spoke to him on the field after we'd finished that session, and it's really unfortunate what happened. It was an absolute accident, and it's a hard thing to deal with at times. Thinking that you're responsible. Like he couldn't have helped that. Josh Mansour couldn't have helped where he was at the time, and it's just a freakish thing that happened. So, for Josh Dugan, I guess his mindset needs to shift now to his preparation with our captain's run today and then the game tomorrow. He's played a couple of good test matches for us this year, and he needs to continue that again tomorrow night against the Kiwis, and hopefully keep building for the rest of the tournament.
It will be strange to play a test without Cooper Cronk.
Yeah, well, it will be, but we were given an indication that back in Australia, that everyone was going to get an opportunity, and at some stage someone was going to get a rest. And this week it's Cooper. So it's going to be a little bit different. The makeup of the side is a lot different to what we've been used to. But we're still fielding a very strong side. We've picked 24 of the best players available from this season, and we've got two guys there, Michael Morgan and Jimmy Maloney, who have had fantastic seasons. Michael Morgan partners JT at the Cowboys, and Jimmy Maloney, he just won a grand final in the half. So both playing great football at the moment, and whichever way Mao leans to, I think they'll play well.
If you were in New Zealand's shoes, would you maybe view it as Australia not taking it as seriously as they should?
I don't think so, no. I'm not in their shoes, so I'm not going to make an opinion on the way they think or the way they feel. But if I was New Zealand and playing against the Kangaroos, I'd believe that the Kangaroos are taking this very, very seriously, and we are. It's another test match that we want to win. It's a very important game for us in the overall scheme of this tournament. If we win this one, we're in a very good position. We'll be 2 from 2. But in saying that, it's not a given. We're not going into this game thinking that we're just going to turn up and we're going to get the result. We need to play well. Kiwis will be better than what they were in Perth the last time we played them. So, but our preparation's been great. All the boys have got good spirits around the camp, and we're looking to play a good game of footy.
I know you never disrespect an opposition, but
No.
Could it be seen as that in any way?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so at all. Given that we were told before we'd even left for England that everyone was going to get a rest at some stage. JT didn't play last week. A lot of the guys that were in our 17 in Perth didn't play last week, and they've all been put back into the team for this game. So it's I can't speculate or have an opinion on other people's thoughts. They can have whatever thoughts they want. Our focus is on ourselves, and we feel this is the best decision to make, moving forward in this tournament.
What did you reckon after seeing that 1 point game last week between England and New Zealand?
Look, we've watched a little bit of Vision. I thought it was a pretty entertaining game of football. I thought the Kiwis were better than what they were a couple of weeks ago against us in Perth, and that's just natural progression of a team playing together. So I think they'll probably have a couple of things they want to change from that game in Perth, particularly their ball control. So it's going to be a tougher match for us for sure. But I thought our build-up last week against Scotland was quite good. Our young guys performed well. A few of those guys get another opportunity this week to play and put their foot forward for a match against England, and hopefully a final in Liverpool.
It was a very physical match in the forwards too, that game. Do you think that kind of works in your favour? They're going to be perhaps feeling the effects of that?
Mate, probably not. Now it's been a 7-day turnaround. I think they've had a fairly good rest. I think if they can't get up for this game, they won't get up for any game. They love playing against the Kangaroos, the Kiwis, and Taumalolo was back to his best. He ran for nearly 300 metres. I think Tapau was great. Bromwich was great. They all played aggressive, and that's the style of football that their coach wants them to play. So I'm not going to expect anything different from them tomorrow.
They've got a pretty decent record in Four Nations games as well against the Aussies.
Yeah, of recent years they have. Yeah, we 2014 we didn't beat them in the Four Nations, so we're looking to change that record tomorrow.
I spoke to Jonathan, and he said that you guys were really impressed with how you pressured Sean Johnson in that Perth test. Whose job will that be in this game?
Everyone's really. When Sean's playing well, he pops up all over the park. He's not sort of just fixed in one position. So I think we're all going to get an opportunity to put some pressure on him, and that's a big job. He's a very good player. He's got tremendous speed, and sometimes he's hard to contain. We've seen that a couple of years ago in the Four Nations finals. So he's a huge part to their game plan and their success in games. So if someone gets an opportunity to put a little bit of pressure on him, we will. But we just need to try and contain their big boys first before we look at Sean.
He seems to have bounced back well.
Yeah, he has, and quality players do that. He's he's one of the best halves in the game, running around, and when he's got confidence and his team's going forward, he's really hard to stop. So big challenge for us, but we're up for it. You know, we've played these guys twice this year and had 2 good results, and you know, we want to try and make that 3 tomorrow.
So have you got their measure?
No, look, yeah, I'm not going to come out and say that. Geez, it's yeah, we've just had 2 good games this year against them, and yeah, I'm not too sure what their thoughts are on their performances in those 2 matches. They probably feel they can play better, and I think they can. But yeah, if we play well, play to our capabilities, then we'll have a good shot of getting the result.